On a busy Chicago street, Officer Daniel Porter stopped a black woman driving an expensive SUV, unaware she was an FBI agent. His usual arrogance and threats backfired spectacularly when she put the Federal Command Center on speaker for all to hear. The crowd watched as his world collapsed in mere minutes. What happened next would stun even the most seasoned officers. But let's go back to the beginning. The streets of downtown Chicago hummed with the familiar symphony of urban life. Honking horns, distant sirens, and the occasional chatter of pedestrians. Among the chaos, Officer Daniel Porter, a grizzled veteran with salt and pepper hair and a hardened scowl, perched in his patrol car at a busy intersection. His eyes flitted from car to car, searching for what he liked to call suspicious behavior. To Daniel, that usually meant targeting people who didn't fit his idea of belonging, especially black drivers in upscale vehicles. A sleek black SUV rolled into view, moving slightly under the speed limit. Its driver, a poised black woman with sharp features and a tailored navy blue suit, seemed unbothered by the hustle around her. For Daniel, however, her calm demeanor and expensive car were immediate red flags. Without any concrete reason, he muttered, "Let's see what she's hiding," and flicked on his sirens. The SUV's driver, Agent Vanessa Cole, glanced in her rearview mirror. She had been here before. As an FBI agent specializing in internal affairs, she was all too familiar with unwarranted stops. Her hands steady, she activated her turn signal and maneuvered smoothly to the curb. Once parked, she adjusted her blazer, letting out a deep breath to calm herself. Her years in law enforcement had taught her how to handle these situations, but it didn't make them any less infuriating. Porter strode toward the car with an air of authority, his hand resting ominously on his holstered weapon. His steel-toed boots thudded against the asphalt, and his eyes narrowed as he approached. He leaned slightly into the open window, his face shadowed under the brim of his patrol hat. "License and registration," he barked, skipping the usual pleasantries. Vanessa turned to face him, her expression neutral but firm. "Good afternoon, officer," she replied, her tone measured. "May I ask why I'm being stopped?" Her politeness did little to soften Porter's hostility. His scowl deepened. "You were driving suspiciously," he snapped. "Just give me the paperwork." Vanessa raised an eyebrow but complied. Reaching into her glove compartment, she retrieved her license and registration, her movements deliberate and slow. Alongside her documents, she handed over her wallet, letting her FBI credentials peek out deliberately. She watched Porter's reaction carefully. His eyes flicked to the badge, his jaw tightening as he muttered something under his breath. Without acknowledging the badge, Porter snatched the paperwork and marched back to his cruiser. Vanessa sat quietly, her fingers tapping lightly on the steering wheel. Through the side mirror, she could see him hunched over his computer, typing furiously as he ran her plates. His body language spoke volumes, the tension in his shoulders, the barely restrained irritation in the way he moved. She knew he hadn't found anything incriminating. As Vanessa waited, another police car pulled up. A younger officer, fresh-faced and visibly uneasy, stepped out and approached Porter. Their brief conversation was tense, the rookie gesturing toward Vanessa's car. Daniel," the rookie whispered, his voice audible through Vanessa's open window. "You sure about this? She's FBI." Porter waved him off dismissively. "Badge could be fake," he scoffed. "Probably some big shot wannabe. Let's dig a little deeper." Vanessa's patience snapped. She reached for her phone, unlocking it with a swipe. Calmly but decisively, she pressed a speed dial. This wasn't her first time dealing with a situation like this, but it would definitely be her last time letting it slide. As the phone rang, she glanced into her rearview mirror again. The rookie looked increasingly uncomfortable while Porter gestured toward her car, his face a mask of frustration. Vanessa's voice was steady when the line connected. "This is Special Agent Cole," she said, her tone commanding. "I'm requesting immediate support at my location. I've got a situation escalating with local law enforcement." She rattled off her coordinates as Porter and the younger officers stopped talking, noticing her call. The tables were about to turn. Vanessa placed her phone on the dashboard, the call still active. She sat back in her seat, her eyes locked on Porter as he approached her window again, his confidence wavering slightly. She smiled coolly. "Is there a problem, Officer Porter?" Porter marched back to Vanessa's SUV, his steps heavy with self-assurance, though his face betrayed faint irritation. This time, he brought along the younger officer, who trailed behind with visible hesitation. As they reached the window, Porter tapped it twice with unnecessary force. "Step out of the car," he ordered curtly, his tone leaving no room for discussion. Or so he thought. Vanessa didn't move immediately. Instead, she studied him with a calm intensity, her eyebrow arching slightly. "On what grounds?" she asked, her voice low but firm. Porter leaned closer, his face mere inches from hers. "I said step out of the car." Vanessa exhaled slowly, unbuckled her seatbelt, and opened the door with deliberate calm. She stepped out, adjusting her blazer as though preparing for a high-stakes meeting, not a roadside confrontation. Folding her arms across her chest, she turned to Porter, unflinching. "I'll comply because I'm recording this," she stated evenly. Then, gesturing toward the badge clipped inside her blazer, she added, "And just so you know, I'm Special Agent Vanessa Cole with the FBI." Porter's smirk deepened, his bravado unchecked. "Sure you are," he scoffed. "Hands on the hood." The rookie shifted uneasily, his eyes darting between Porter and Vanessa. His voice broke the tense silence. "Daniel, this doesn't seem right," he murmured. "Her badge checks out." "Shut it, rookie," Porter snapped, his glare silencing the younger cop. He turned back to Vanessa, his smirk returning. "Let's see how much you're willing to bluff." Vanessa's phone buzzed in her hand, cutting through the tension like a blade. Without waiting for permission, she swiped to answer the call, her expression unchanging. "Excuse me," she said, holding up a finger. Porter's mouth opened in protest, but Vanessa ignored him and pressed the speaker button. "Agent Cole," came a commanding voice, firm and clipped. "We've received your alert. State Police and FBI backup are en route to your location. ETA, 5 minutes. Porter's face drained of color as the words sank in. "What the hell is this?" he muttered, taking a half step back. Vanessa's gaze bore into him, her calm demeanor unwavering. "This," she said, her voice as sharp as broken glass, "is the end of your career, Officer Porter." Behind her, the rookie stared at Porter, his face a mixture of confusion and quiet vindication. For once, he didn't say a word. The faint wail of sirens crescendoed as unmarked cars and a state police cruiser converged on the scene. The crowd of onlookers murmured in surprise, phones raised to record the unfolding drama. Porter's once confident posture crumbled. His world was collapsing, and there was nothing he could do to stop it.